The fact that a rabbi's on stage. That spills over, and Sephardi Jews, I found, are like the Jewish version of Catholics, and Sephardi Jews and Jews who are even Ashkenazi but grew up in a Catholic-dominated country, like if they grew up in Latin America or if they grew up in Italy and they're surrounded by Catholics, they become like Catholics and they will also get me. I have never had a problem with a Jew who grew up in Latin America. I don't care if they're Ashkenazi or Sephardi. If they grew up in Latin America, they love me. If they grew up in Italy, they get me. And they don't understand why some Jews, like the white-skinned Ashkenazi Jews that grew up in America or in Eretz Israel, why they don't get me. They don't understand it, yet they will see it all the time. Whether it was on MySpace, whether it's on Facebook, or wherever. If they don't get it, they see it. They see the animosity towards me. They see how people just will trash me to bits, and they don't understand it. Because it doesn't make sense to them. Because they just look at me and they think I'm just this, great guy who's really funny and honest and, whatever, and they love me. And they just don't understand how I can fire up a group of Ashkenazi Jews. Ashkenazi Jews, if I was left to them, they would lynch me. Like, you saw the flotilla? That was Rabbi Rabbs coming down on a rope with a boat full of Ashkenazi Jews from America.
What are the sweetest compliments that you can get?
The sweetest compliments?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I got one from my ex-colleague, my ex-fiance, which I thought was really nice, and for some reason it still reverberates. And she said, "How can anybody hate or anybody not like?" I can't remember which word it was. Like, how can anybody not like Rabbi Rabbs? How can anyone not like Rabbi Rabbs? And I think that's really sweet, and I think that really summarizes everything. It's like, for those of us, who get me, and we just don't get why these people have such a problem with me. I have theories, if you want to hear them.
Yeah. Go ahead, hit me.
I think the theory is like this. I think that, first of all, Ashkenazi Jews tend to be very inbred. Hundreds of years of inbreeding has done severe damage to the ability for Ashkenazi Jews to think for themselves. And I think there's a tendency for them all to want to be like bees and all think alike. And what ends up happening is anyone that goes a different direction than the hive makes them very nervous. It's like they're all going one direction, and anyone who goes the opposite direction, it upsets the whole herd mentality. So like when someone like me comes along, and I'm not a herd person, I'm like, it's always been my thing, like I always go the opposite direction. And it's not because I purposely try to walk down the street the other way that everybody's going. It's just whatever it is I do in life, I think for myself, I go this way, and then everybody's going the opposite direction. So maybe I'm always going the wrong way, whatever, but they can't deal with it. Like there's this movie, I don't know if you ever saw it, it's called Midnight Express.
Yes.
Okay, there's a famous scene in Midnight Express where, like, I think it's like, okay, it's late into the movie, he's sent into like this insane asylum. It's like he's in prison, he's transferred to where all the crazy people are. And there's this pole in the middle of the room, right? So Billy Hayes, and everybody like walks around the pole like in one direction every single day, and like it doesn't even make sense. There's no logic, why they're all walking around the pole. So one day Billy Hayes just gets up and he's like normal. He's not a criminal, he's not even insane, he's nothing. And he just gets up, he starts walking the opposite direction, right? He's not going the way that everybody goes every day. And there's no reason why he can't go this way or there's nothing. And he starts like a riot practically. These people can't deal with it. They're all like, no! And they try to spin him around the other way. You gotta walk this way with us, because we're all going around the pole this way. I just look at that, whoa! This is just like a satire, or whatever you want to call it, of the frum world. This is how the Jewish community works. Everybody's going to walk this way. Now, there's no logic for it. The Torah doesn't say which way you have to walk around it. Okay, now don't tell me call penis liyomim, we always have to go to the right. That's that there's no logic why we have to go around the pole this way. Right? It's a metaphor. There's no logic. It doesn't say, if the Torah said you had to go around this way, I would go around this way. The Torah doesn't say it. It's sort of like, this is an area you can decide for yourself how you want to go, right? And everybody, all the frummies are going this way, right? And anybody who comes in from the opposite direction, it upsets them. They can't handle it. So they feel compelled to try to spin you around, to make you just like everybody else and fit everybody else. So fit in, right? And there's no room for you to be yourself. You can't be opposite to everybody else, and they feel compelled to spin you around. Now, they could be ass backwards. They could be completely wrong. Like, for instance, I spoke about child abuse, which these people are dead wrong about. They want to perpetuate child abuse. Now, they'll say, no, we don't. But passivity here is tantamount to being, what's the opposite of, taking an active role.
Taking action.
They're taking an active role in perpetuating. By not doing anything, you can't just say, well, I'm not doing anything, so don't blame me. By not doing anything, if you've chosen not to decide, you still have made a choice, right? Rush, right? So that's what they've done. They've all decided, we're fine with keeping everything status quo, and we'll just continue the cycle of abuse from generation to generation, because we're not going to take a stance on this, and we're never, God forbid, going to tell anybody not to have kids. We're never going to encourage anybody not to have kids, and when we bring new Jews into this thing, we're never going to screen for, did they come from a bad parenthood? That's none of our fucking business. So we're going to tell them, go to yeshiva for a couple of years and start spitting out kids, and then, if they abuse them, that's not our business. And that's the firm world. That's the Jewish community. It's like, let's just make more and more kids, and what I look at is, let's just make more and more child abuse victims. Okay? So I look at it and I say, you know what? This is ass backwards. I need to spin these damn people around. I need to wake them up and understand that there's a big issue out here called child abuse, and you're doing nothing about it, and you're just allowing it to continue to breed, okay? And instead, they look at me and go, oh, no, Rabbi Rabbs knows nothing. We got to turn this crazy motherfucker around. And so they're trying to spin me and trying to turn me and get me to have kids. You think I'm not telling the truth? I am telling you right now. I don't even have to look at this thing. I can tell you that somebody's telling me that I should have kids. Am I right? Is there somebody there telling me I should have kids? I'm going to kill them.
No.
But this is like totally typical, if there would be, because I'm so used to it. They're going, you know what, he just whines, and there's some yenta like, he should just have 2 kids, and it goes on all the time. And nobody there they don't hear me. They can't hear me. Like they can't hear. They have no input for what I'm saying, and all they know how to do is just spit out kids. That's what the frum world knows. So that's my mushal. Okay, my mushal is, any single thing that comes up in the Ashkenazi world, they all are going to march around the pole together in the same direction. And anybody who thinks for themselves and goes the other direction, even if it makes more sense to go this way, they're going to try to spin that person around. So Ashkenazis are never going to get me. And I think that, like I said, I think that's due to their inbreeding. They have a thing about me, too. Like Hershel, Fried. I know that you know him from satire. A lot of these people are probably going, oh! He did a shout-out for the guy. Why did I bring him up?
You're talking about Ashkenazi will never get you, and then you said Hershel Fried.
Yeah, but I lost my train of thought here completely. Some people never get me. Alright, skip it. I was going to say something that he had told me, but I can't remember what the hell he told me. But go ahead. I can't even think. Go ahead, ask me another question.
Let me think.
Okay.
So what do you love and what do you hate about your life today?
The thing I hate, I can tell you at first, the thing I hate in my life today is that I'm not married, and I'm trapped in a religion that's for married people. This does not work for me, It's like, hey, we talked about at the beginning that I threw myself into this, and I said, I'm going to do everything 100%. But you know what? Here's the problem with that. There's 613 mitzvahs, right, and all their details and all that stuff, right? Before we even come on to the first mitzvah that's listed in the Chumash, because all of them are in the Chumash itself. But the first one, before we even get to that, right, it says it's not good for man to be alone. And this is my own pshat. I've never read this anywhere, okay? This is my own chiddush. Why does it say that before we even list off any of the mitzvahs? And here's my pshat. Because this is a book and a religion. This Chumash and all the 613 mitzvahs and all of Judaism is a religion for married people. If you're not married, don't even go farther and start learning all these mitzvahs, because you know what?